On this week's episode, we have titillating Travis demo the workout.
We've got, what comes first?
Pistols, shoulder to overhead.
We've got pistols, dumbbell shoulder to overhead, and ring muscle ups. I should be fired.
We release these workouts right here on YouTube every Thursday, sometime around 1.
This week's throwdown is 3 rounds for time of 30 pistols, 20 dumbbell shoulder to overhead, and 10 ring muscle ups.
It's hard to get out.
This week's demo athlete is Travis Mayer, 8-time CrossFit Games athlete and TTT homeboy.
If you want to warm up movement standards and a scaled version of this workout, you can check the link down below. Yep. Good. The muscle-ups will be the biggest separator in this workout, so you need to plan your breaks accordingly, and that starts with the movement beforehand, which is the dumbbell shoulder to overhead. Make sure you break those up early so that you can crush the muscle-ups.
On the dumbbell shoulder to overhead, use the jerk to save your triceps. A lot of people will go to failure on dips on the ring muscle-ups, so push pressing all of the dumbbell shoulder to overhead is probably not smart for most people. Use that dip under to save those triceps.
Just like Brandon alluded to in point number 2, you should break early in this workout.
Point number 1.
All right, just like Brandon alluded to in point. You're keeping all of this. All right, break the muscle ups early. Unless you are somebody who can crush muscle ups 10 unbroken under fatigue in round 3, you probably will be better off breaking up set 1 right off the bat.
Y'all are a special bunch.
Yeah, man. We really
Let's watch this video.
No, hold on, wait. Now it's time for the 3 most important words in all of CrossFit history.
Yes, for the love of God, please say them.
Let's see it.
Thank you. 3, 2,
1. And we're off. The infamous pistol.
Yeah, do you guys think we're going to see it this year in quarterfinals?
Man, I don't know. I actually saw a video of Dave Castro talking about how important of a movement it is, but it has caused a lot of controversy in the past.
Yeah, it has. I mean, we saw even on site a couple of years ago, people that got no rep for not standing these all the way up. I think that's an important note. In practice like this before quarterfinals, make sure that you're meeting the standard on each rep so that you have it in your toolbox before you get there.
Yeah,
If you're my turn,
ahead.
Max, my turn. If you're a fast pistoler, it's really easy to miss that standard and not feel like you're missing it. Basically what happens is your foot that's out in front touches the ground just before you hit hip and knee extension, so just be careful with that if you're a quick little pistol bunny.
Yeah, I feel like Travis has actually looked pretty good here. His depth is solid. He's standing all the way up, but that's sometimes at full speed to his detriment. But I think it's better off right now in training to try to exaggerate that to not get a penalty in quarterfinals.
So we already talked about this in our Work Smarter segment, but he's push pressing all of these. I think for stronger athletes, they can do that. But for most of us, it's probably smart to 1, break, and then 2, dip under at least half of the reps so you save yourself for the dip.
Yeah, I think even if you are stronger, if you have a ring muscle up limitation, then just be smart on these. Break them up and dip under, even if you feel like you don't necessarily need to, so that you're saving your triceps. Think about that 3rd set of muscle ups.
Yeah, Travis right here is flying. So he basically did unbroken, and that was a 7-second transition to go into the muscle ups. I don't think that this pace, like the aggression with which he's going through the workout, is a good idea for pretty much anybody. I mean, unless somebody is pretty confident that they can do 10 unbroken muscle ups in set 3 after they're super tired, I think it's not worth what you'll lose in the later rounds of the workout.
What if Noah's watching this?
Noah can do this unbroken, I think.
Noah can do whatever he wants to do.
There's a select few that really can go through this fast, but just like I think it was 2 or 3 years ago where it was GHD, pistol, and muscle up, we saw a lot of people go fast in that first round and they started to blow up in the second, and then that 3rd round really cost them. So you got to think about the compounding fatigue that happens in these movements going into your last round.
Yeah, so we'll see. So Trav was just around 2 minutes to finish that whole round, which means if he maintained that pace throughout, which probably most people couldn't do, he'd be at 6 minutes. I don't want to spoil anything, but he's not going to.
Don't spoil it, but no.
Yeah. Something I noticed too, I was watching, but I wasn't the judge. In this workout, there were a couple reps on the muscle ups where Trav, on his last one specifically, would be a little bit soft in his elbow on the way down. The same thing we talked about with the standards of pistols. I think now, knowing that quarterfinals is really soon, and I told Travis this after the workout, but those little details can cost a lot of time if you get penalized. So trying to focus on all of your movement quality right now is probably just a good idea.
Yeah, especially for those that are trying to qualify for a semifinal with the cut down from 60 to 40 individuals.
Yeah, I mean, one major penalty on a workout, and that's pretty much your whole season over. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth it, even though it's kind of hard to know where that line is with how it's enforced. I think in training, try to be on the side of over showing that the reps are all good.
Good time for video review too, because sometimes you might feel like you're hitting it, and then you watch it. And, oh,
Yeah,
God, so
that's-
good to have it on.
So he went unbroken again, right?
Yeah, unbroken, and now this transition into the muscle ups, he's being, I don't know if it's a little bit smarter or a little bit more tired, and we just see the rings floating here. But
Very
he is
ominous.
Where is
Yeah.
Travis? Where is? Oh, there he is.
Yeah. So he's up now a little bit longer, but actually that rest break for most people watching is probably normal. If you do 20 unbroken shoulder to overhead, you're probably resting 20 or 30 seconds before you jump up to even do a smaller set of muscle ups. So just keep that in mind with your pacing. It can sometimes be a little bit of a bait to watch
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah, that's-
who's more fit than you do a workout.
That's something I see from a lot of athletes is or a lot of individual athletes that I coach is they'll come up with a pacing plan on something like a ring muscle up, say they're going to rest 10 seconds in between sets, and that's just a very unrealistic rest break for most people. Even a 20-second rest break on ring muscle ups can go by so fast when you're tired, so just being aware of how much a rest break on a ring muscle up costs you versus if you were to just take that break on shoulder to overhead or on pistols, you can take a 10-second break and have it be much more impactful.
Yeah, so Travis was unbroken and then 2 sets on the second set of muscle ups. There will be people, especially if you made quarterfinals and let's say you're like 75th to 90th percentile, you might be doing doubles in the muscle ups with 20 seconds of break. So this is going to be similar to 24.3 in that beating the time cap might still be a pretty good score as you're going through this. So make sure you're just aware of that in your pace strategy. Travis, when we get through this, you'll see that the last round really costs him. But if that happened to you and you were doing singles on muscle ups with 30 seconds break in round 2, you could be bottlenecked so big in this workout. So pacing intelligently right off the bat is even more important if you're not at kind of a more elite level.
And if you are in that bucket of athletes who either this is your first time qualifying for quarterfinals and you maybe don't have a lot of volume of gymnastics skills, or you've been in quarterfinals and you're still in that intermediate level of gymnastics volume, now is a really good time to start playing around with, all right, if I need to get through a set of 10 ring muscle ups and I do singles, how much do I need to rest in order to keep those going? And knowing that before you go into a workout like this can make a big difference.
Yeah, and we have workouts like that in our online program where that's what we're telling the intermediate athletes that have graduated into RX to prep for quarterfinals. Go ahead and start practicing that. And Chris, to your point, have your phone filming yourself so that you know exactly how long it is. Because sometimes it feels like you're resting a really long time, but in reality, it's only 12 seconds or 15 seconds between reps, and that's going to be pretty solid in this workout.
Yeah, for people that are elite that might be watching this or trying to make semifinals, Trav, after this workout, was very shocked at how metabolic it was by round 3. And I think just the compounding of whatever kind of breath holding you have on muscle ups right into pistols, which is usually a hard movement for people to breathe well in, and then pushing overhead, I think be prepared for, oh man, he dropped the dumbbells. But be prepared for your just overall fatigue to be really high, which I think that is why in our tips segment, we talked about breaking the movements up early. So last set of muscle ups here, we're at 6:30. Remember, he was at 2 minutes at the end of round 1. So that means the deterioration in pace from round 1 was huge. So I'd say if I was video reviewing with Travis, or if this was a quarterfinal workout, he would definitely have to repeat it, and he would definitely re-strategize. He went out very aggressive, and I just don't think his fitness was there to support kind of the initial pace that he went out with.
And we already talked about this, but you can see his dip is deteriorating a little bit, and that probably plays into the shoulder to overhead being unbroken. So even for someone as good as Travis, who could do 70 or 80 unbroken shoulder overhead with 50 pounds fresh, should break those early so that he can go a little bit faster in his ring muscle ups.
Or maybe doing even what Mia said in the tip segment is instead of going fast push presses that are going to be very upper body dependent, slowing the cycle rate down a tiny bit and just saving your triceps by dipping under. Like changing the way you do the movement might then save time here in the last set of muscle ups.
Yeah, and in that dip under technique, I think it's a little easier to breathe because the movement is a little bit slower and you can kind of time your breaths a little faster with the dip and drive. So play around with it and see what works for you. But for most people, probably don't go unbroken, and definitely don't go unbroken push press unless you have really good tricep endurance.
Yeah, and that rest break is probably what people are going to be experiencing
Exactly.
earlier in the workout. If you're close to failure in muscle ups, it's very hard to just kick up. You're basically, and his dip you could see is almost at full failure. I would have no rep that last work, but I'm not the judge in this. I'm just the guy commentating on it.
You know what? Good job, Travis. Great job.
All right, 808.
See what he had
It was great.
Let's see it again.
I think just the muscle ups for me at the end. Like, they compound.
Did you pace it like you thought you would?
I think so.
Or did it change
I probably should have broke like 6'4" for me.
on those?
Yeah, at the beginning. My pressing just went, I felt way more like metabolic for some reason. Like when I dropped down to the pistols, it was strange. But I think overall it was okay. Like, I think if I redid it, probably still do the same on the dumbbell, just some more pistol volume to build up, but it was good.
Did the combo of the movements affect you in a different way?
For sure. I mean, I think anytime I have shoulder overhead thruster or something combined with muscle up, my pressing and stability on the rings really just starts to go. So I think if you know that's going to be the case, break up the dumbbells like towards the end of that final set of 20. Like, that was max effort, like trying to hang on for 20.
And if you were going to give this to your class, any advice for them?
They probably wouldn't be doing pistols, but if they were, smooth pistols to control the heart rate, break the dumbbells up from the beginning, and then small sets on the muscle ups. Even if you're scaling it and doing bar muscle up, same concept, so just break it up.
Good job.
Thanks.